Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story. Welcome to part 2 of a very special episode of the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast. The guys are joined once again by Alexandra O'Brien as she interviews them for the Clean Truths podcast.
So I get to the hotel. I have no idea where he's at. I asked the hotel. I figured that he would have at least given the hotel, the front desk, like my name that I was going to be there. No. And so they're like, we can't give you his room number. We don't know where he's at. You can go have lunch on the veranda. Okay. So it's hot. I was super stressed out and just pissed because I don't know what's happening. So I'm sitting there eating, and another friend of ours who had gone down a few days early because Randy's like, I still want to be here by myself. I need some help. He comes walking around the corner and he's got two San Miguel beers, and he sees me. He had gotten word that I had shown up, so he's coming to find me. He's like, hey, Randy's down at the beach. I'm like, okay, great. So let's go down there. And then I'm thinking, why is he at the beach? Shouldn't he be in the hospital or wherever he's getting
Yeah,
treated?
I mean, we're 2 weeks into this thing. Shouldn't he be monitored in a very
IVs
medical setting? Yeah, you got cords and wires going everywhere.
So I go down to the beach and I see him laying there, and he's never looked healthier.
Really?
Yes. And this is only...
And you had just seen him in a blue-gray state, right?
Yeah, not even a couple of weeks prior to that. And so I'm like, what in the world is happening? And so I look and they're like, hey, don't worry about it. And they could tell I was obviously very irritated.
Right.
And because I'm like, wow, I just flew all the way down here. You look fantastic. You look great. I just left my whole entire life. I've got 3 kids, the practice, all the things. And so I'm like, they go, don't worry. Took Randy a week to be able to decompress and everything. Our friend Jeff is like, it took me a couple days. We're gonna get you through this learning curve in less than 24 hours. And so, and they did. And then I was supposed to be there for a week. I think I ended up staying for 3 or 4 weeks and didn't want to leave. And so that was really got us really diving deep into the science of just what was happening metabolically. Yeah. So when we talk and what he was talking about dyshypertenese, and what that actually is, that's where the word disease comes from. People just don't even know how to actually properly use it. So dis-ease means the body is in a state of unbalance. It's not balanced. It's not in homeostasis. So we got to figure out how to be able to get the body back into homeostasis. That doctor was talking about how all chronic illness really truly lives downstream of poor metabolic health. The only thing I knew about metabolic health at that time in my life, because I hadn't looked at the science of it, was metabolism is you either have a really good metabolism or really bad metabolism. It's really easy for you to be able to lose weight or keep weight off, or it's really hard. That's all I knew about it. So I knew that I had a really crappy one, right? And so the more we started studying about it and understanding that there are components to being able to help the body heal at a cellular level, metabolically speaking, we get back from Spain and I'm like, okay, because remember, I could hardly walk. And so I'm like, all right, I got to do something. Just like him, I'm like, I know I don't want to do surgery. That's the last option because I know what happens to people who have gotten back surgeries. I'm a chiropractor. I get that. And so I can now, what if I start using these same protocols and start applying that science to myself? It can be able to help him because like we just learned is that, okay, cancer is a symptom of poor metabolic health. So then I obviously have poor metabolism. I've got inflammation through the roof. What if I start doing those things for myself? And that's what I started doing. And immediately the weight just started coming off. The inflammation in my lower back was gone within 2 weeks. I'm like walking, something that chiropractic couldn't help me without literally years of trying to be able to solve what was going on with my own back. It was able to do in only a few weeks. And so I'm like, okay, this is cool. And I always knew though, that if I ever tried to do a quote diet, and I was still calling it a diet back then, that I would get to a certain point where I would get stuck And then after I stopped being perfect, it'd go back up again. Well, this time the weight continued to keep on falling off until I was actually at my quote, healthy weight. And I say that because they have all the charts, like the BMI charts.
Right.
And I'm like, those charts are crap. Those aren't even real people. I don't ever fall inside the green. That's not true. I must have too much muscle or whatever it was. I'm like, I was actually in the green for like the first time literally in my entire life. And so that's when our patients started going, what are you doing? Right. Randy's patients were going, hey, what are you doing to heal from cancer? But what we also realized really quickly is that, you try to heal somebody from cancer in the United States holistically without any chemo radiation or any of that stuff, you end up going to prison.
Bingo.
Yep. And so
we came back thinking that's what we're going to do.
Even saying this, I won't be able, this will get censored on YouTube. Just by saying that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was not, but that was a shocking thing though, because you're like, wow, there are cures for cancer.
And you're not allowed to talk about it.
And like, wow, if you look at it as a metabolic disease and get to the cause, then yeah, anything can recover. But you start going to all the different organizations where they're raising money, and I was like, we'll come in and do free metabolic workshops, nutritional strategies, show you how to prevent. The only thing they had any interest in, and these are all the major organizations, you can name them all, we all know them. They wanted to raise money for obviously more testing and more treatment. So that's what we have right now in the industry. We have more diagnostic testing and more medical treatment, yet we're really not impacting mortality rates. And there definitely isn't a strategy on prevention. So I thought prevention they'd be all excited about that. No, you start curing incurable diseases, like you said, it's curtains. You disappear or you get locked up.
Exactly.
Or you lose your license.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there we were. But what we didn't know is that our patients were like going, okay, so how are you losing all this weight? What are you doing?
Right.
And so the next thing you know, we're helping them with strategies to be able to regain their metabolic health, not even to lose weight. It was really about healing their metabolism. Now they're losing weight. They have more energy. They're feeling better than they've ever felt. And we're like, oh, we have something. So here we are now 15 years later, after like version, 50 of our metabolism program, and really being able to have strategies for people to heal their metabolism. So that's what we say now is that like, we help you to heal your metabolism so that your body is now healthy. The side effect is that you lose weight. So we help you get healthy so that you can actually lose weight.
Yeah, that's a big mistake a lot of people make. They're just asking the wrong questions. It's not how do I lose weight? It's how do I heal my metabolism? Not how do I treat disease? How do I get to the cause of my problem so we can remove that interference? That's really a different way of looking at health, but it all stems from what we talked about earlier, knowing that you already are healed, that God did not leave anything out. The goal isn't to find more healing, it's to remove interference.
When we were talking, a flashback came back to me. And when you are currently undergoing chemo right now, what the nurses and doctors say to chemo patients is, okay, we're going to do this infusion. Once it's done, we need to keep all of the chemo in because one of your side effects, right? It's like you puke, you throw up, it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they suggest to patients today in 2025? They want you to drink Ensure, those drinks, Ensure drinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to go and have McDonald's
Eat as much as
and
you
Burger King. Just exactly. And it just is so infuriating when I hear you guys saying, like, that is how messed up the health system is. And the fact that we have to go up against that is disgusting.
It is disgusting to marginalize the role that nutrient-dense food would play in somebody's health. Are you freaking kidding me? In fact, we just got back from Sardinia and went into the blue zones up into Sardinia.
We literally just missed each other. I was there too.
Saiolo, and we were interviewing people and looking at the culture and the foods and the history of how they make their foods and their cheeses and everything. And it's like, wow, clearly these people aren't just that lucky. There's a method to the madness. So instead of studying more disease and how we can diagnose and treat it, why don't we start looking at healthy people and see what they're doing? What is it that they know that we don't know? Well, the reality is they just made it a lot more simple than we did. There's not a lot of tests and moving parts. They don't rely on medical care. They really live off the land. They are connected to nature. They have great community. And those things are looked at as woo-woo or almost like, crazy to even consider when you get a cancer diagnosis, as if it's just like you're going to do what we say or good luck with that alternative quote strategy. It's really, it is sick. You can go to the hospitals. That should be the healthiest food anybody gets access to.
Yes.
Not just ensure, what else are they feeding us in the hospitals?
Yeah, we get people sending us text messages all the time who, for whatever reason, they may have needed to go to the hospital. They're sending us photos of like the menus there.
Oh, God.
And it's the most disgusting thing that you could ever
Yeah.
put into your body.
Mhm.
And you were talking about even in Sayula, while we were there, we met this guy who's a pig farmer, and he was, or not even the pig farmer. It was
talking about
actually,
Antonio or
actually,
Massimo?
it's Massimo.
Yeah.
Massimo, who's a shepherd, a sheep herder. Massimo was telling us that when he makes his cheese out of raw goat milk, nothing in it, that if they were to find an antibiotic in the milk, he would be fined 25,000 euro if they found even a trace of antibiotic
Yeah.
in there.
No joke.
Here's the exact opposite.
We want everything with
Oh, we've
that
already
in there,
been at
please.
8 doses by the time
Bingo.
we're 2 years old, just completely destroying our body's ability to heal. But yeah, that is normal to them over there. And here we've just gone so far away. The medical industrial complex is so powerful.
Yes.
They control everything. I mean, all legislation runs through them. They lobby Congress. The funding for these 3-letter agencies come from the same people that they're supposed to be governing. Like, it is incestual at a basic level. And most people, well, at least I think now people are starting to realize that, and they're losing trust in the system, which we should, because what the healthcare, I use that word very loosely, is what, 20% of the GDP now. And what do we have to show for it? Spending the most amount of money on healthcare. Yeah, we're one of the sickest countries in the world on almost every major statistical category.
Yep. Now, the report that just came out last week is they now are letting everyone know when you do MRIs, it's actually spreading your tumors. That's how dangerous MRIs are.
There you go, right? I mean,
that's stuff that we knew. I mean,
You guys knew
for,
way
for,
Well,
for,
exactly.
for forever ago. It's like the writing was on the wall right there. So yeah, I think we can really learn from, like you said, people who are healthy. What are they doing? And now we've got this big movement. We're talking about even biohacking, for example. We've got all these people in this biohacking world that are trying to teach people. I'm like, when was the last time that you were actually a centenarian? You're like 35 years old trying to tell me how to live to be 100. When have you been 100?
That's pretty
Let's
funny.
actually
That's
learn
the
from
funniest
people
thing
who
I've
are
ever heard.
100
Yeah.
and do what those people are doing, which is
Exactly.
why we went there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so tell me this. When you guys are working with somebody with quote unquote bad metabolism,
Yes.
what is it that you're seeing that they all have in common? Is it inflammation? Is it diet? Like, what causes somebody to have a bad metabolism?
Yeah.
I'd say inflammation is a huge one, and I think if you go back even to the cause, okay, what's causing the inflammation in there? If we go back and look, we are one of the most toxic worlds that you could ever imagine. Toxicity plays a huge role in the inflammation of the cell. And if you've got inflammation with the cell, well, then the nutrients that are going into the body are never going to make its way inside there in order to be able to help power the mitochondria. And so the mitochondria in the cell is what it is that's responsible for metabolic health. If it can't make energy, if it doesn't have the nutrients that it needs, the whole thing is going to shut down. And that's one of those things that you'll see, especially with people who have done chemo and all those different things, because there are toxins inside the body. So it's going to shut that system down. One of the biggest culprits right now that's creating toxicity in record numbers is going to be industrial grade seed oils. So it's the canola oils, the vegetable oils. Any seed oil going into the body is going to create toxicity that's going to lead to inflammation inside the body that really is going to shut down your body metabolically.
I mean, it's probably been what the number one metabolic poison that's been introduced into our food supply. You can look at the trends over the last 80, 100 years. Back in the early 1900s, they were eating a lot of calories, a lot of sugar, a lot of red meat. You didn't see cancer. You didn't see heart disease. You didn't see diabetes. You didn't see obesity. And I just find it hard to believe that our genetic makeup has mutated and distorted to the point where we went from a non-epidemic to now epidemic status. It does not work that way. It is impossible. There are no genetic epidemics, right? What's been the thing that we've done? And you start looking at that's one of the huge issues, because one of the things with seed oil, chemotherapy works very similar to a seed oil or any type of metabolic toxin. And here's one of the reasons why people struggle with their weight. We were talking about this before we jumped on the podcast. Why do people gain a lot of weight once they've gone through chemotherapy on the other side of that? And it feels like it's impossible to lose fat again. One of the components that the body, remember, the body's always trying to do the right thing under the circumstances. So we know that fat is where the body stores most of the toxins. So when body gets exposed to toxins, whether it's seed oil, processed sugar, chemotherapy, medication, whatever the toxin is, the body will actually become insulin resistant to protect you. Because when you're insulin resistant, when the cells can no longer take up glucose, which would happen in a normal, healthy metabolic person, you now go into fat storage mode. And so you make more body fat so your body can push toxins away from your vital organs and your brain and your nervous system into the fatty tissue. It's literally trying to save your life. But when you're insulin resistant and you're toxic, you're in big trouble.
Right.
Because you now have to figure out, how do I now liberate these fatty acids and remove these out of my body, but do it in a way that's safe? Because a lot of times there's a lot of strategies that people are using which can retoxify or cause even more issues. You have to get to the foundation of the metabolic problem, laying that metabolic foundation when you've got great metabolic flexibility. You can burn fat for energy. You can burn glucose for energy. You are insulin sensitive. You have to get people fat adapted. And right now we're seeing a whole epidemic of metabolically sick people who can't even burn fat. And one of the reasons they can't burn fat is because their bodies are so toxic.
Thank you so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. And as always, if you don't know what's going on with your metabolism and you want to find out, go to metabolismscore.com.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. And if you're wondering about our Happy Healthy Metabolism products, go to thehappyhealthylife.com and at checkout, use promo code podcast to save 10% off any of our products.
So I'm in the phase of life right now where everyone's getting married and are having their first kids, right? And my girlfriends, I just got married, kids not yet, right? So I'm not there. But all my girlfriends come to me because I always give clean recommendations, right? So it's like, been doing that for like 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
And my girlfriends have been coming to me saying, hey, what are clean baby formulas, right? And so I have been doing my homework. You guys, do you know that there isn't one baby formula on the market that doesn't have seed oils in it?
I believe it.
So there's a couple brands that claim they're clean, non-toxic. No, you look at their ingredients, and by the FDA, in order to be able to claim infant formula, you have to have seed oils in there.
Do you know why that is, right?
No, tell me.
So they looked at the breast milk of nursing mothers and they break down the fatty acid composition. But think about it. What group of women are you taking and what are you looking at? So we now have an epidemic of women that are consuming seed oils. When you eat it, what goes into your breast milk? So we've changed the fatty acid profile of breast milk because of the day and age we live in, with all the toxins and all the seed oils that are available now, that, remember, they don't leave the body. They have a 680-day half-life. So we've changed, apparently, the nutritional breakdown and nutrient profile of healthy mother's milk. It's now containing seed oil. So the evidence doesn't support using seed oil to help support the neurological development of a child.
Right.
They're taking these randomized trials looking at, these women that are already sick who are
Right.
loaded with seed oil and then examining their breast milk. Crazy, right?
That's my social clip right there
No
for this podcast.
animal would ever have seed oil normally in their breast milk.
So what do I say to my girlfriends? What's the alternative? Can you not avoid it?
The alternative is what it is that we did for our kids and used to make it. Yep. So there's recipes that are out there. It's not a big deal to be able to make the formula yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Super easy. You can make it in large batches. The kids love it. They drink it. And so that's what it is that you do, is like he was talking about earlier, is you have to take agency for your own health. It's one of those things, especially as a parent who's got kids. There's not anything in the world that I wouldn't do for my kids. And with all three of my kids, that's exactly what they did as they were weaning off of breast milk. We're making it for them. And, my kids have, not one of them have ever been vaccinated. They've never been to a medical doctor. They've never been any of those different things. And even as people are like, well, how in the world did they go to school?
Right.
You can go to school. I've got a 21-year-old that's in college right now. He's like,
you have a 21-year-old?
I do.
Look
I
amazing.
do. Thank you.
Hey, the happy, healthy life.
You guys, both of you, like, wow, amazing.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like,
I need to join.
he's like, Dad, what do I do? I'm like, well, you don't do anything. You tell them no.
Right.
For those things, you have every right over your body, and these are the things that we do. But he's also got a dad who's informed as well. So it really is about educating yourself, becoming informed on what your rights actually really are.
It's so hard though. The social pressures.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like you guys say that, and someone like me, I'm like, yes, like I completely agree. I know exactly what you're saying. I deep down know that I say no, but I'm telling you, the social pressures and the outcasting is real, especially in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for being able to really hone that into your children, because it's really difficult.
Yeah, and I think that's why what you're doing is so important.
Yeah.
Because you're creating a community of people who can be able to join forces with each other. And that's one of the things that we really did learn, even in the Blue Zone. When you see these communities that are there, I mean, they are all in and they have each other's backs.
Yeah.
And so when you can create a community like that, then you have that person that doesn't feel like they're alone anymore.
Exactly.
Well,
and that's the beautiful thing about Maha. Like these events that we go to, I'm like, wait, okay, I'm not crazy. Like other people are like me.
Yeah.
And
Right.
because
we can all be crazy together.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because
we can all be crazy and non-toxic
and live like you guys.
Life.
Like you guys are your own walking
if
billboard.
If that's crazy, then hey, sign me up, baby.
Sign me up. That's how I feel too. Okay, so let's say this. I am 33, diagnosed with breast cancer. What do I do? What should be my first steps in taking control of my health from your guys' point?
Yeah, it's hard to give advice to a hypothetical scenario.
Situation.
And you always want to find out the story of how somebody got where they were, what happened. There's things that have happened. But the first step really is breathe. Okay? A lot of times when you get the diagnosis and the fear and the pressure and the, especially in the medical community, they really use pressure to cause you to go into a state of fear. And when we already know when you're in fear, you no longer it scrambles your amygdala. You no longer use logic and reason. And so that you don't want to make decisions from a place of fear, right? Fear is critical to the current way we deliver healthcare in America. So the first thing is breathe and relax. The odds are 99% of the time, something doesn't have to be done right now. Cancer does not kill people. It's not what cancer is doing. Unless it's cutting off blood supply to an organ or occluding a breathing passage, it is not going to kill you. They give people these diagnoses and then they give you, like they did me, you got 2 months to 2 years. And we already know the placebo effect is real, but the nocebo effect is real as well. The negative outcome, if you believe it. Have they done these trials where they tell people that they've got cancer? And these people start becoming sick, and then they tell them they don't have cancer. Now they start getting well. It's interesting because when they give you the diagnosis of how long you're going to live, that diagnosis is based off going through treatment. That's a treatment diagnosis. So based off this cancer, and you go through standard of care, this is what we see happen. That has nothing to do with that disease process, that dis-ease in your body, what you're going through, that is not the prognosis. The prognosis is based off the treatment. Did you even know that? So they're giving you a death sentence and they're labeling you with a disease. And now words are powerful, they're spells, your thoughts are more powerful in reality. Pause, breathe, take a second to realize that I don't have to do probably anything right now.
Yep.
And
Don't
anybody
buckle under the
telling me that
pressure.
I do
Exactly.
is trying to coerce me and
Yep.
use fear. And remember, whoever sells the panic sells the pill, right?
Bingo.
If they're using fear to control me, that should be a big red flag right out of the gate.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What are you guys seeing right now as the biggest red flag in the wellness community?
Biggest red flag in the wellness community.
Oh, I know what that is for me. Decided we could have a hot take if we want. Go ahead. I'll let you speak to it, and I may have something to say. I may not.
I would say one of the biggest red flags in the wellness community is people that are also saying that, you know what, number one, don't get me started on the whole vegan thing. And so that you have to eat all these vegetables in order to be healthy. Don't believe that. The other thing that I would say is that people will say that it's about your diet, for example. They're trying to sell a diet or a pill, a potion, a lotion, whatever it is that they're selling. Really, health is a lifestyle. It's not just one thing.
Right.
It's a lot of things that go into it. So I would say that, and then I would also say that everybody is different as well. So it's not a one size fits all approach when it comes to having a healthy lifestyle. Everybody is different. That's why whenever we work with people, the first thing that we do with people is we have them do some testing so that we can be able to see exactly what it is that's going on with that person. That way we can be able to customize whatever their recommendations are going to be, because not everybody's the same.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said. And I think the biggest psyop sold to all of us, and not even just in the wellness, health, and freedom movement, is that we're broken. That disease is just what happens. And we talked about earlier that we blame things that we can do nothing about, and they tell us these things. I mean, like I said, what can you do about getting older? What can you do about half the stuff that they blame it on? I think that's the psyop, is that you're broken. And the truth is, you're not broken. That God designed you to be healthy. The body is designed to heal. It's just a fact. I'll give you an example. You get a splinter in your arm, and of course, what's going to happen? Your body's going to swell and build pus, and it's going to get red, and then it's doing that to get rid of the splinter, right? Yet medicine would say, well, that's the swelling and the redness and the inflammation. That's the disease. But that's not the disease. That's the healing process of the body. That's the body doing the right thing. The splinter was the interference, and the body's trying to get rid of it. So I think we've been told that symptoms are diseases, when really symptoms are the body's adaptive ability and therapeutic response to try to heal you. And most of the drugs and the things that we take are designed to stop that healing response, right? Fevers are bad. You got to get them down, all right? Runny nose, you got to stop the runny nose. You got to cough, you got to stop the cough. What if the cough and the runny nose and the fever and the swelling were things your body's trying to do to heal you, and you're taking drugs to stop? So I think a lot of the health freedom community and the wellness community really still doesn't fully teach, understand what health is. Health is really a God-given birthright. It's not something you can get from any machine or any supplement or any drug. It's who God made you to be. And now the goal is to create a lifestyle in an environment where great things are more likely to happen.
So you're seeing quite a few wellness influencer frauds out there.
Oh my gosh, there's some plants, right?
You're gonna have to drop some names after.
There's some plants. Yeah, I think
we've got a list.
There's no, yeah. That's the thing about all these Johnny-come-latelys who were making money on this side, and now they're making money on this side, and
right.
Controlled opposition, and they fully, I hate it when you don't fully go to the heart of the truth of the matter. But I will tell you this: we can't worry about turning over our health to anybody, not the government,
Right.
not your doctor, not to Dr. Rob and I,
Mhm.
not to you,
Mhm.
not to Aunt Susie. You are ultimately responsible for your health.
Mhm.
And like I said earlier, you have more control and influence and agency over your health than you've been told. It is not true that there isn't anything you can do in almost every single situation. There are things you can do. And that's why, we coming out of what we both went through, we ended up being here as these metabolic experts. We wanted to create a system to help people really rebuild their metabolic profile. If you build a house on sand or you've got a bad foundation, if you've ever done that, it's very costly, costs you a lot of time and a lot of money. The Bible says to build everything on that solid foundation. You want to build it on the rock. And so that's where we've been able to come in and really intercede in a lot of situations where we're not treating conditions, but we're helping people lay down a foundation of metabolic health and stack from there. If you start stacking before you build the foundation, you end up spending a lot of time and a lot of money. Like we'd even talked about, gut health is a huge topic right now.
Huge.
Huge topic.
My number one requested
That was your number one request?
is gut health.
And we actually built out a gut health program for people. It's
amazing.
it's a 3-part module. It's unbelievable what can happen in just 6 weeks to go through that protocol. But it's not how we start people. Because, and Dr. Rob, you do a great job of this, because a lot of people ask, if the metabolism is so important and metabolic health is so important, really, what is metabolism and what controls it, right?
Yeah, that was an epiphany. I was like walking outside here one day and I'm like, that's what metabolism actually means if you break the word down. So I love words.
Right.
So meta means transformation. Bol, the middle of the word, means beginning of life. Ism is a system. It's a system that your body is using to be able to repair and bring everything back to the beginning of life, exactly the way God created it from the very beginning, right?
Wow.
So think about that.
Wow.
So it's the thoughts that are going into your body,
Yeah.
or into your mind. It's the nutrients that are coming in, like you talked. It's what's going on physically with your body. It's all of those different things, and your body is always doing. That's the great thing. You've got almost 75 trillion cells inside your body that know exactly what to do and when, as long as there's no interference. So let's get rid of the interference, find out what that is, and then create an environment inside the body where good things are a lot more likely to happen.
Yeah, so the gut is a part of the metabolic journey, right? You can't have a healthy body with an unhealthy gut. Now, to define what a healthy gut is, I don't know that anybody really knows the answer to that because it's really never been fully defined.
I mean, there's so many gut gurus. It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. And there's so many tests and supplements and protocols. It's can be very confusing and being very expensive. Not that some of these things aren't effective and can work. I'm sure that they do. But health isn't as complicated as we make it out to be or how we've been told it is.
Right.
And that's just a true statement really about everything. If everything feels so complicated, that's probably by design because it's intimidating and it makes you not want to do anything. Like, well, I couldn't figure all that out, so I have to turn it over to somebody else who's smarter than me. They're not smarter than you at all. You're your best advocate. So the metabolism isn't just one thing, it's everything. It is the gut health, right? It's also your hormones, and not just your sex hormones, it's your metabolic hormones. You can't even balance your sex hormones unless you balance your metabolic hormones, things like insulin, glucagon, leptin, cortisol, adrenaline, adiponectin. I mean, we can keep going. You've got obviously your nervous system. You've got your endocrine system. You've got toxins. You've got hydration. There's so many components. So the gut health program we developed was very specific, but it would never be how we start people. We always start people going through our metabolic protocols to help heal the metabolism, because that really does set the foundation for overall health. That really is your wellness longevity play.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.